It's a very special thing, man, to be able to express yourself. And in jazz, the rules are made to be broken.
And we are here with David Caceres. David Caceres, how's your morning so far?
Pretty good, man. Yeah. I'm surprised we're doing it this early, man. Or you guys haven't gone to sleep yet, right?
I did sleep a little bit.
Okay.
But I've been waking up, trying to wake up early lately, you know.
You know, when you have kids,
yeah,
this is midday.
I literally was thinking about that while I was waking up. I was like, David's probably been up since like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes like when I'm in a group chat with younger musicians, there'll be something that chimes in at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. You know, like Gavin. Like, all right, he hasn't gone to bed yet, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go, man. Anyway, you know, because when you have kids, it's just you got different hours. So I'm up early and I'm up late, so that's the way it goes. So yeah, man, we were talking about the studio, so I'm digging your vibe here.
Thank you. I had a vision, and I approached a couple of friends, and they were down. They were down to make something happen, and we discussed it, and now we're here. So nice. We wanted to basically make it a rehearsal spot, but with full recording capabilities.
Nice.
The only change we're about to make here is we're going to upgrade the speaker system and then also put a subwoofer, and then we're going to be really talking, you know?
Nice.
And then we could do like at least simple videos in here.
Yeah.
Drum set, we got basses, we got guitars, we got everything.
Yeah, and to record, a live session, sometimes, you get more spontaneous stuff out of that instead of, okay, we're going to go and we're going to record this record, we're going to do this.
Yes.
You could just start playing and press record. Sometimes you get some pretty amazing stuff.
And shouts out to my friend Rolo and Danny. Okay. Without them, this would not be possible.
Cool.
So, once again, David, it's good to have you. Let's talk. So, at Houston Ensemble, we talk about whatever. We this is like bro time, basically.
Well, my first question is, how come we haven't played together?
You know what's interesting that you mentioned that? I just looked at an old video we recorded with Woody Witt. I don't know how we got connected, or maybe we were trying to. We were trying to do a thing at Cezanne's.
We were gonna do it. Before it.
Yeah, and then we're just like, let's make a little video. And back then, Chad and I were living together when I had just moved back to Houston from Dallas. And then Chad and I, that spot that we had an extra room on the side, and we converted that into a studio.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, it was kind of the similar size.
Yeah, and
we did the podcast there.
We did a podcast, and then we made it a double podcast session.
Yeah.
Cool.
Podcast
recording. And I was thinking, we can do that. Why not?
Yeah.
At least
I should have brought my horn, man.
make it cool too. I was thinking of having like a singer too. 1 or 2 songs, something vibey.
Yeah.
Shot dynamically, like fun to watch.
Sure.
We'll mix it here, make it sound good, chat on bass.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Why not?
Before I forget, so tell us about your studio at home and how you do it at home.
So, there's a lot of musicians that live in my neighborhood, Westbury. And there's this drummer in town, older cat named Ben Atkinson. I don't know if you know Ben. He used to play with the Blue Monks with David Smith, and he had a big band of his own for a while. But he was a drummer / realtor. And so whenever someone was looking for a house, this was back in the 90s, he would be the guy to call. And so from Kelly Dean to Warren Sneed to David Smith, just a bunch of musicians. And so he found these really affordable houses in Westbury. So I bought my first house, and the great thing about that area is that it's always appreciating. So in 5 years, so think about this, I bought my house in 98 for $74,000.
Sheesh.
Woo, 1,600
and
square
it's a nice
foot.
house.
Well, that was the other house, house.
Okay, different house.
In 5 years, that doubled in appreciation. So it doubled in value. So I said, well, I've already paid some equity on this. I could sell this house, make some money, buy a bigger house and then buy a piano. So you've been in the house. I've got this nice Steinway B. And the idea was to have a house that was bigger and have all the instruments there, a drum set, a piano, to be able to do sessions, invite people over, and then eventually build a studio. So that's what I did. I sold that house in 2003, bought another one in 2004, bigger house. And with this extra money, I bought that piano, and then I built a studio. And I had some friends that recommended what I should get. But the idea was, we're going to be recording digitally, but you wanted everything to sound as analog as possible, especially we got this Steinway piano. So we, got the right mic pre's and microphones and all that. And so the purpose of all this was that I'd have no excuse when it comes to making records. And so it turns out I only made one record of my own there. But I had this guy that was the guy that helped me build it had also was also the engineer. And so I recorded my one record there, but then other people were getting wind of the studio, and so other people started recording there. Joe Lacascio, it's just different jazz musicians, and so eventually this engineer ended up moving town, so I kind of had to learn it on my own. So I ended up learning the whole system and how to run it and how to record myself. So I've had a good deal of experience being on the other side, not just playing it but recording. So now I'll do some recordings at the house where I'm engineering and playing at the same time. So you get a 2-for-1, man, if you want to come record at my house.
Yeah. That sounds good.
But anyway, I upgraded it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I love the Apollo interface. That's what I use. I have some nice mics and mic pre's and just try to go for the most organic sound. So this is in a house that's hasn't been compromised as far as the layout or building walls or anything like that, or making holes into the walls. So basically, if you're looking for isolation, you're going to get the same isolation that you would get in a regular house. So that one record that I did of my own, piano stayed where it was. I was in the family room, so I'm blocked off from the piano by a wall. Bass is in another room. Eric Rivas was on bass, and Jamari Williams was in the master bedroom. And we actually pulled it off. We're playing some hard jazz, and we got good enough isolation. So if you had soloed the piano, you could actually hear the saxophone. But with all the other instruments going on, you weren't going to be able to detect it. So basically it works,
Okay. There are, I'm sure you've seen like package isolation boxes. You can just buy them, and I don't know if they assemble it or you assemble it, but basically it's like an IKEA booth.
Yeah.
And they come in different shapes and sizes. I was looking at one that's maybe $10,000, and it can fit 2 people to do vocals, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can whatever, you can go in with saxophone in there too or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
So things are different now because back then I was the only one in the house. So now I'm married and have 2 kids. So when I got married, about 75% of my stuff it didn't last. I mean, just stuff, I would collect stuff. I would collect glass.
Glass.
Yeah, man. I was
That's
into
cool.
antique glass, and this was because my mom was into that
depression
glass, all kinds of depression glass.
Wow.
I have these 2 beautiful bookshelves.
My grandma
in the
loves
family.
that.
Hey, man, it's all.
That's the only reason I know about
nice,
it.
though.
It's actually some really pretty stuff.
It is.
And I learned to appreciate it because my mom, she would have it all out in display in San Antonio, and I'm like, man, that's just stunning, So
Is that like collecting crystal figurines?
Yeah, pretty similar.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of the stuff that I collect was crystal also.
Yeah.
It's all in boxes in the attic. So anyway, that booth sounds interesting, but it wouldn't last in the house,
They would tear it up.
Well, there'd be nowhere. She wouldn't stand to have it in the house
was
unless I
saying.
could put it somewhere.
Right.
So, and there's nowhere to put it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to keep it out of sight.
What was the record of yours that you recorded at your house?
At my house, that was my third record, and that's called Reflections. So,
I would
did we do anything?
I would assume I listened to something from it, but I just was curious. 'Cause like I'm sure listening, if playing any of your originals, I don't know which originals are on that one, but I've definitely listened to that.
We
some
played one
from the
back in
albums.
May. We played Breakfast Club is on there.
Okay, then I would have listened to it.
And, it was funny. David Craig sent me a text with a picture of my original at HSPVA. He said, "Man, PVA is going downhill because they were trying to play an original of mine." I said, "Good Lord, man, get those kids to learn some standards."
Oh, that's
So that's one of
That's
it's
cool.
one of the songs on that record.
yeah.
Because they're at HSPVA, there's this vibe of wanting to really push the envelope, and sometimes they miss that step of really learning the deep rooted stuff.
What do you mean push the envelope? Just start
Well, like,
playing
let's-
modern
let's-
stuff?
Let's not play. Yeah, let's not learn how to play. There Will Never Be Another You.
Mm-hmm.
Let's learn to play Dolphin Dance or Witch Hunt or and anything a little more esoteric than that.
Right.
Where they don't, you don't learn how to play over natural changes. So learning to play in before you play out, learning to play in 7 before you can play in 3 or 4.
This is interesting. I was trying to explain this to a student that like modern jazz came from an evolution. It didn't happen before confirmation. It happened after confirmation
Exactly.
and using the language of confirmation. And you're just going to skip that and you think you're going to authentically understand and play this more
Exactly.
modern iteration. And you're not. It's going to sound like gibberish.
It's going to be missing something for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's an interesting
Yeah.
point about HSPVA.
Well, and there are great players there, and now Warren had a challenge with a lot of those students, high school students that wanted to do things their own way, and now James Westfall is there, and I think he's doing a pretty good job there.
I just played with him the other week.
Did you? He sounds great, man.
He does. He's cool.
We did a
A
gig.
vibraphone player.
An old student of mine, Sasha Ripley, who's doing great now.
Yeah.
We did a gig together at Echoes, and whenever we play there, Jalen Baker, and he wasn't available. So Gavin said, "Well, what about James?" And I had never played with him before. I had interacted with him before because I had subbed for him over at HSPVA. But he sounded great, man. He did the gig with us at Echoes, and he blew me away, man.
Yeah, he's pretty smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I met him because of Sasha too. Just never met him before, and was like, oh, sweet. 'Cause it's cool to have another vibraphone player in town. There are really only 3. There's Jalen, there's Drew Johnson, and there's James now. And Drew is also nasty.
Yeah.
But we never get to see Drew.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, definitely nice to have 3 now. So
and I was gonna talk about the home album thing because one, I think it's a great idea, and I feel like you don't have to necessarily go to a Wire Road or any other places to get a good quality. And one person who did that I learned about, whose albums like you couldn't even tell, was Phil Jones.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I know.
And I was listening to his music on Spotify, and I actually asked him, like, this is when he was still alive. I was like, just talking about the albums, and he's like, man, I recorded almost every part of that album at home.
Yeah.
Or just sent it out. And on one of the albums, he was playing a MIDI bass, upright bass.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Isn't that crazy, man? He did most of those.
Can't,
Yeah.
like, maybe you can tell if he tells you, but if you're not thinking about it, you're not going to know.
No. I went to record on one of the songs at his house, and his studio was half the size of this room with the drums in the corner, a desk with his computer, and a couple of mics. And the mics were 58s, nothing special. But he was able to get an incredible sound, and he was playing drums on it, he was playing piano, he was playing bass on his stuff. Man, what a drag that he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be on that last gig that we did. And he had
shoot.
passed away that night or that day.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you told us right before we played, and I was like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're right. He would get an incredible sound, doing stuff at home. So it's possible for sure.
Yeah. Crazy music.
And what's also nice about doing it at home is just the environment, instead of being in a place where, you're just in this structure that's very business, corporate oriented, to be in a house, and you got trees and you got the windows and you can see her. And sometimes we've done sessions where it's raining and it's even, more hip. It's just really cool to have, be able to experience that. So
what are some of, like, throughout your life, some of the pivotal or memorable, like, recording or even performance moments that kind of stick out to you? Like, if there's one or two stories where it can either be a recording moment, it can be a literal performance moment that kind of had an impact on you, maybe made you think differently, showed you something.
Yeah. Well, but one of my heroes is Wynton Marsalis, just because of he's just fearless, man, and he's a genius on the classical side and the jazz side, and I just like his focus when he plays. When his eyes are open, it doesn't faze him to see the people. He's looking straight ahead, but he's not looking at the people. He's just thinking about the music and playing the music. And this was only 5 years ago, and this is thanks to Vincent Gardner, who plays with Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, and he moved here to start this nonprofit jazz outreach program, Jazz Houston orchestra, which I'm part of. I'm also the director of the youth orchestra, but he's got his professional band, the Jazz Houston Orchestra, and then he's got the youth orchestra. But he would bring in different guests, and so he brought in for the first concert or second concert that we did. He brought in Wynton Marsalis, which was
nice.
And he played with us, and it was just so inspiring, man. And just that family, because I'm also a huge fan of Branford Marsalis. I've checked out all his music. A guy that I hung out with in San Antonio was his bass player, Eric Rivas, which is why he played on one of my records. And I got to tour with Delphia. We did a tour in Brazil, which was fantastic too, man.
Wow.
Just that, I'm in awe of that family and all that talent. Jason's also incredible. I got to play with him with Matt Lemler. So that was a great experience. Recording wise. So my second record was there was a guy named Bill Sukon who had built a studio in the mid 90s out in Stafford, right off of 59. Great big room, but he was using those Tascam digital recorders, and it was a really, really harsh sound. But he had a stack of those and built this big room and all these booths, and so he invited me to go and record for free. So I decided to record a bunch of different things, a bunch of different styles. So because I'm a singer too, so I did a few arrangements of some standards with horns, so me singing with the horn players. I did a Latin thing, and then I did a trio record with Sebastian Whitaker and a bass player named Cliff Schmidt. And that was some of the most inspiring and fun times I've had in the studio, because it was just the three of us for 2 days. And just to see Bash and how he, Bash was blind. So when it comes to getting the message across, it's going to be a musical message, whether it's time to go on or it's time to end the song, or
That's a good point.
it's and so which is why, back to my studio, I thought, well, do we need to see each other when we record in different parts of the rooms? I said, well, Sebastian Whitaker was blind. He didn't need to see anybody. So let's make musical cues, or let's talk about it. So, but that was a great session and a lot of fun. And, Bash, we lost him too, 7 years ago. So that was one of the highlights in my recording career. So speaking of projects, that's something that I'm actually working on right now. It's just working on the music is a tribute to Bash.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it just has to be done, man. He taught so many drummers here in Houston that are out there doing great things, and he had the hardest swing of anybody. So all these gigs that we did at Saison, it was such a great time. So,
yeah, he was a little bit before. I think he was still alive while I was here, if it's 7 years ago that he passed away, but I would have been like 2 years or a year and a half in Houston.
Yeah.
So he was probably...
And he was already getting sick. I think the last couple of years of his life, he was... he wasn't really playing that much anymore.
I played one of his tunes with Jerome. What's it called? It's like blues. It's like a street.
Did we play that at Monk's?
Yeah.
I think we did.
We played it together.
Monk's. Yeah, so Jerome was one of his last students, and I have him in mind. I talked to him about it, doing a couple songs on the record. Yeah, because he was one of his last students.
When you're writing music, what is sort of your writing process? How do you write?
There's a couple of ways. So either I'm going to hear something, and if I'm not lazy or if I'm not driving, then I'm going to go and write it down, or try to sit at the piano and try to build, off of it. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be just experimenting, just getting on the piano and writing, and what's that? Cool, and then create something from there. That tune, Breakfast Club, that we played of mine, I had written that in college, and it was only half of that song. It was just, it was only 16 measures. And then after I moved to Houston, I thought, man, well, that song needs more to it. So I added another section, and so it evolved. So some songs, they'll evolve over time. So.
It's cool that, like that's a song that you wrote in college.
Yeah.
Partially, of course.
Right.
And then still playing it today or adding to it today.
Yeah.
I remember with Ben recently, it was like some of those songs he had written in high school.
Oh, wow. Clifton?
Yeah, Clifton. Yeah. Or like, I feel like Armin and I play some songs of mine that I wrote like my first year at Rice, just sitting down at the piano and just coming up with something on the piano. I feel like that time frame of like being in a practice room is lost.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you might be practicing your instrument, but also like during a break, you might just sit down and start sitting at the piano in the practice room and coming up with stuff.
Yeah.
At what point did you start singing? And then was it always singing, or do you start to do it,
That's a funny story. So when I was at Berkeley, I put myself through school. So when I got there, I was I needed to make some money, because I was going to have to pay loans and stuff like that. But there was a band there was a wedding band called Urban Renewal that had a sax player named Warren Hill. I don't know if you've heard of that name, but he's kind of a smooth jazz R&B sax player. But he had this incredible ability to play in the altissimo register, and that was something that I was really trying to learn to do when I was out there, So anyway, he knew about me, and he was leaving because he was heard when he was graduating. He played at the commencement concert at the school, and Shaka Khan's producer ended up being there and heard him. And so, all of a sudden he was playing on Shaka Khan's record. It was really cool. But anyway, he told Urban Renewal about me. I was just a sophomore, I think. And he said, well, the only thing is that you have to sing a couple songs. I'm like, I said, well, I know I can sing in tune. I don't know if it sounds any good, but I know at least I can hit the pitches. So I said, sure, man, I can do it. So I met the band, and they were all a little bit older than me, and I picked a couple of songs. They were party tunes, and so that's kind of how it all started. And then when I was finishing up school is when Harry Connick was, starting to emerge, and he was doing these standards. There were big band arrangements, and he sounded great too. That was his music was on that When Harry Met Sally soundtrack. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, but I was kind of inspired by that, and I liked that whole vibe. So then I started doing singing some jazz standards, and that's kind of how it started. But then it was kind of in Houston. When I moved to Houston in '92, it was a means of survival because I had moved here to play with Paul English, and we had a gig at the Blue Water Grill, which was at Shepherd's Plaza, there's nothing there anymore. But it was a really hopping place. There were like 8 clubs there. And, that was the scene. That was the spot. Hundreds of people all the time, all throughout there. And so then we had a 5-night a week gig there.
Wow.
And that's why I moved here, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make, I think it was $125 a night playing in a restaurant, but playing jazz. So Paul English was like, we're not going to play restaurant music. We're not going to play cocktail music. We're going to play jazz. And so it was always really challenging stuff like Chick Corea music or Charlie Parker Heads. And it was with Joe Ferreira and Jim Calson. But the gig lasted for about 4 months, because all of a sudden they realized that they could get more people in there by putting a Latin band in there. So I'm like, okay, well, I moved all the way to Houston. I'm in this garage apartment, and I need to pay my rent. So what am I going to do? So I heard about these entertainment agents in town that book bands. I said, well, I can sing, so let me put a little package together and show them that I play sax and sing. So all of a sudden I started getting gigs, which you've done some of those type of gigs too. And that's all been just a means of survival, right? Now you can get lost in that whole thing and get very frustrated if that's all you're doing and you don't have a creative thing like this where you can just play the music that is self-fulfilling. And that definitely happened a couple of times, which is why I moved to New York. I've actually lived there 3 times. First time was after college. Then I moved out there in 2001, and then in 2007, because I just was tired of playing, the private gigs and that style of music. And I mean, I was still playing jazz here too, but I just needed to do something drastic because I was frustrated. So
how was it? How was New York? How was the experience the first, second, third time?
Oh man. Well, the first time was right after college, and I was definitely poor. And the grace period for my student loans was finally up, and I had to start paying the loans. And I was living with a great drummer named Stephen Wolf and a great sax player named Mark Johnson. And Steve Wolf got the gig with Hiram Bullock, who was a great guitar player, played with Steps Ahead and David Sanborn, things like that. And so they moved there first, and he got an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, but they said there's a spot in the living room that you can get. So I had to get a regular job in New York because I wasn't making any money. And so I got a job printing paper. And so I was working from 8 to 5. And Steve Wolf, my roommate, was out there doing gigs and would get home at 1 o'clock in the morning and then start making a stir fry right there next to me.
Oh, shit.
And, so it was a little frustrating, but then I ended up doing a gig. A friend of mine from Berkeley, who was from Cyprus, he was Cypriot in the Mediterranean. He invited me out there to do a gig, and I'm like, man, I don't want to go back to New York, because I was living on this beautiful island where people don't lock the doors of their cars or their houses, and everyone's friendly. And
wait, what island?
Cyprus.
The island of Cyprus.
Gotcha. Island of Cyprus.
At first, I thought you meant Cyprus here.
Texas.
And he was Mediterranean.
Yeah, no,
You're
in the
talking about
Mediterranean.
in Europe.
That's awesome.
In the Mediterranean Sea,
gotcha.
right south of Turkey,
Dang.
west of Israel.
Right.
And it was paradise, man.
Yeah.
And I met a girl. I'm like, man, I don't want to go back to New York. So,
Oof. And you met a girl?
and I was only supposed to be, and I met a girl, and I was only supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and I ended up being there for 2 months. So I told my friends, hey, man, I'm not coming back. Sorry. Just move my stuff to the side. They found someone else to take my spot in New York.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to go back because there's a best friend of mine from high school was getting married, so I had to get back. Anyway, so that's why I ended up leaving New York, moved back to San Antonio, where I'm from. And then I got a second opportunity, which was in 2001. So remember, I bought my house in 98. So you buy a house in Texas, and then you go to New York and you try to live like a college student again in a tiny apartment, music playing upstairs or downstairs till 3 o'clock in the morning. It was the best part about it. You were asking me what did I get out of it? Just the inspiration, right? You're in there, you're in a city with hundreds, thousands of great musicians, and you're just inspired. And so you want to practice all the time.
Right.
You want to check out the music. You just want to learn and grow as a musician.
Yeah.
Being a small fish in a big pond. But eventually I was, I didn't want to live in that situation. So I ended up moving back and into my house. And then I had another opportunity. That was in the first house. Then I had another opportunity when I was in the second house. And I wasn't really planning on moving back, but a great piano player named Matt Lemler, who's from New Orleans, was a Katrina victim, and he lived here in Houston, and he said, "Hey, man, I really like your piano. You ever thought about going back to New York? I'd love to rent your house." So, and that was it. And I was, I was single, and I was, I was like, man, I'm tired. I'm really tired of doing weddings and private parties and things like that. It's okay. I'm going to go again. And I did. And this time I lived with Mike Marino. And,
And how old are you at this realization? You're like, something's got
I'm in my 40s. So,
okay.
So I'm old, right? So this was, this was, I'm really not wanting to live like a college student anymore.
Yeah.
In 2001, it was okay, but I was really couching it more than anything else. But I had a place. So at that point, I wasn't staying that long. At the most, I would stay 3 months at a time, then I would come back to my house here, and still doing gigs, because I had someone that said, "Look, man, you do all kinds of music, but if you really want to get connected in New York, you need to play the music and play with the musicians that play that music that you want to play. Because you can do Broadway and make a living, and you could do big bands, make a living, or you could, play straight ahead or play fusion, but get in those circles of the music that you're trying to play." So I did that. So I wasn't taking any other type of gigs. So eventually I ran out of money, and then I met my wife too. So that lasted for 3 years, but I was kind of going back and forth. But once again, I was very inspired. Even in my 40s, I was living in Washington Heights, and I couldn't practice in my apartment. So I would take my sax and go all the way to Midtown I had a friend that had a studio like this, and he was a drummer, and he was out till 4:00 in the morning, so I could go at 10 in the morning and practice there, and I was doing that every day. So, and I was connecting. It's all about networking. So I had all the guys that I had gone to college with. So there were great musicians at Berkeley when I was there, from Donnie McCaslin and Seamus Blake, Jeff Keezer, Wolfgang Mispule, the guitar player, Roy Hargrove, Antonio Hart. I mean, all these just great musicians. So I was trying to reconnect with a lot of these guys I had gone to school with. And then I was also trying to connect with the guys that I had taught at HSPVA, because I was teaching when I moved to Houston. I started teaching at PVA, and so Eric Harlan was a student of mine, Mike Marino was a student of mine, so that's how I became friends with Mike. So, and how I ended up living with him. So,
is Mike married now or something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely very inspiring, but I always say that I'm a Texas boy. I just like space,
Yeah.
I went for the quality of life.
So it's been an adventure of building your network, traveling a little bit, figuring things out, understanding what you want. And not to make it about us, but like all of the things you're saying right now, obviously, it's very familiar words.
Yeah.
And the adventure of it. And, I talk to Chad about this all the time. I'm like, well, obviously we don't want to do corporate stuff.
Yeah.
So why don't we set something up so that, we don't have to do that, but we can still kind of benefit from, obviously there's money in that world, of course. And sometimes it's interesting. I watch like other entertainers, not necessarily musicians, like comedians, talk about corporate gigs. I just vaguely recall Bobby Lee talking about an entertainment agency in LA that does booking of all sorts, and how he was just offered a gig with them that pays great money, and he's just like, yeah, it's for a bunch of company people, and I don't really want to do the gig. And it's like, maybe those company people might not have the best sense of humor. It's not the type of gig I want to do, but the cash flow.
Right. It's good money.
So
go ahead.
It's like, how can you also do that, and not to get into the well, maybe we can get into business a little bit. I mean, this is a podcast about music and stuff. Yeah. So
I think there has to be a balance.
Yes. Yes.
So now that I'm a father of 2 kids, I'm married and have 2 kids, I have a different outlook on it. It's there's a purpose for it. So, but I try to balance it out, from recording, from doing creative things, to doing that stuff. And I do it, and then I push it away.
Right.
I'm not going to let it consume me,
Yeah. But hey, great music can happen at a corporate gig.
Absolutely. You surround yourself with the cats that you want to play with, that are great musicians.
Oh, yeah. Right. If it's like your friends who you play with all the time, then it's a totally different story. Rather than like going to a random gig where you don't know anybody and it's just a stress fest.
Yeah.
And everybody's like on everybody.
Yeah.
Like we've done some gigs where it's like, thankfully Armin and I knew each other, but it's like going to a different city and then there are 8 or 9 other people that we don't know at all, and we're supposed to play 4 hours together.
It's interesting.
Oh man.
And you think everyone's gonna be pretty chill, but then like occasionally sometimes they're not that chill. You're like, dang.
Yeah, that could be a drag, man.
Yeah. But it works like that, I think, in the pop world or any world. You got to get in the studio with people. You got to meet people. I have friends right now that are trying to be more on the production side. They're doing very well. They're getting hundreds of millions of streams. And
nice.
That's a whole different hustle in and of itself, because you got to get hooked up with an agent that basically matches artists with producers.
Right.
And there's a few of those. And so, like, if Dua Lipa wants something recorded, she's going to holler at that agent for a producer that can match her style.
Yeah.
And then he's going to hook you up. And so that's kind of what they're doing.
And when we were at one of Armin's friend's house, apartment in LA, we were hanging out, and this guy is a producer and does produce. and something, and he was like, let's make a beat that we could send to the people and say it's for Dua Lipa. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it. No, it was actually kind of cool.
It was,
and we
it was.
did.
Yeah.
And but then I was like, dang, we should have like filed some paperwork or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be used, but
No.
yeah, it's cool. He was also showing us like from the head of the production company, whatever you want to call it. It was like, here's a list of the artists that need.
Yeah, that was the agent.
The agent, yeah. Here's a list of the artists that need something, like a groove or whatever, a beat. And it was like Katy Perry, Flo Rida was on there. There were a ton. Like those are the names that I remember sticking out. Dua Lipa was on there, obviously.
The competition for that is insane. You know, like right now, I noticed that the record companies like speed. So if you're a prolific recorder and you get stuff completed quick, they look at you like cash, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh man, this guy can make me 5 albums in a year, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I noticed, like the hustle to get your loops and your tracks and your productions in front of an artist is insane. There are so many people doing it. And now with AI tools, they're doing it so quick.
Yeah, exactly.
They're churning these things out. They have templates ready to go. Boom, 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 boom. You're out. You know, it's like.
Well, you know, the guy, Steve Wolf, that I was talking about, the drummer that I moved to New York with, he toured with Annie Lennox and Grover Washington. You know, Hiram Bullock. He played with a lot of different people. And then all of a sudden he started making tracks at home. Yep. And now that's all he does for anything that you hear on the radio these days.
Oh, sure.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was just sitting at home now. Didn't have to leave the house.
There you go.
You know, and the fact, like you said, he's fat. He does it in an instant.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
there's many avenues, basically. There's many ways of skinning the cat, as it were. And in business, in the music industry, like I have friends who are running very large YouTube channels, and that's all they do.
Yeah.
And I love them, I respect them, but I know that is a hustle that will get you very pale, and it's a challenge in of itself. And so, or you can try to be a sync licenser. You can just try to like get music on radio and TV spots or in the Galleria. Yeah. Or you can run an agency or whatever. There's so many things.
I think that this just reminded me. I just thought it was crazy that there's a guitarist here in town named Lee. He's an older guy.
Okay.
I forget his name. I don't ever see him, but I did like one random corporate gig with him. But I was just learning about him, and he said that he had written the jingle for the Regal Cinemas like opening ad. Like if you go into the theater like early, and you see like Regal screen, it's like he wrote that jingle, and I was like, what, dude? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's something that I want to do too, though. I want to like get into like writing, not necessarily jingles per se, but like something like that, or having an outlet to do that.
Yeah.
There's a really big law firm in LA called Sweet James Law Firm. And it's like an accident thing, and you see their billboards everywhere. And somehow my mom knew a woman that worked in their marketing, or she's really good friends with the woman who works in their marketing. And this woman called me, and she's like, we're going to be doing a bunch of commercials, and I want to see if you can revamp certain music, like do covers of the song, but they're supposed to be like comedic for the commercial. Almost like a parody.
Like Weird Al, like Weird Al.
Kind of corny, but it's like, it's for a corny commercial. And I was like, oh shoot, like I'm down to try it out. I can do it, even though I don't know if I can or not.
Right.
And it never happened because they never went through with it, unfortunately. But I was like really gearing up to like figure out how to like recreate all these like songs or like a full on 80s song, or recreate it exactly as it is.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit like interestingly daunting, but unfortunately we didn't get to do
Are
it.
you into like songwrite? Like obviously you've written songs, but more in the pop vein, or what is your preference aesthetic? Like I'll just say, me personally, I've been getting really into just pop writing, and that's a whole. I find that to be a whole art over in itself.
Yeah.
To make something very catchy and not corny.
Right.
That's tough because you can make a bunch of corny stuff.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But there's a balance. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, so I grew up listening to pop music, so I didn't start listening to jazz until college. Like listening to the right people. In high school, I knew Chuck Mangione and Spyro Gyra. So,
Spyro Gyra.
Yeah, man. In fact, when I was auditioning at Berkeley, man, I played "Morning Song" by Spyro Gyra as my audition for Ensemble ratings.
Real quick to that,
yeah, man, nice tone.
just real quick, since you like them, I didn't know who they were. I had heard of them. Last year, me, Corey, Ben Wilson, and Gavin opened for Spyro Gyra.
Did y'all really? Oh, wow. They're old dudes now, man.
Yeah, they played at the Heights
Theater?
In the Heights on 19th.
Oh, okay.
And I told my mom, I was like, we're opening for a band tonight called Spyro Gyro. And she's like, Spyro Gyro? And actually, they were in town. My parents were in town.
Oh, okay.
So they came to it and they were like, this is sweet. But they sounded awesome.
Yeah. They wrote some cool music.
Not to throw it too aside, but...
Yeah. And they were great players. But anyway, the music, the pop music that I listened to was real instruments and organic. It was Stevie Wonder and Chicago and rock from the 70s and stuff like that. So the only thing I don't like, which I feel like they're moving back to more organic sound, is just that whole digital sound of music. It's like I don't get into it. And also when they just push the button for auto tune on a vocalist, and you can hear, now that I'm on this side of the recording process, I know exactly what they're doing with those vocals when they're trying to correct them. Michael Bublé's one, because Michael Bublé's a talented cat, but man, they are not ashamed of auto tune. They just click a button and it just sounds way too digital.
There's major tracks on Spotify that you press play and you're like, and you're like, okay, so I guess this is just, nobody even minds not having talent anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like you're a product now, and your face either sells or it doesn't. That's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, like, I'm listening to Journey, for example. I'm like, these vocals are incredible.
They're incredible.
And a lot of those 80s bands just all had
they're not perfect.
No.
Even like you listen to the Bee Gees. I mean, there's notes that are off, but it's natural. It's human, and it sounded great. And now when you hear someone and it's perfect, you're like, oh, no.
It's off. It's odd.
It's very odd.
I saw a clip of Rick Beato. He had a friend who had, from what I gather, I got to go back to this clip. This friend had set up a system, an automated system, where AI would help you generate a concept for an artist, a theme, a visual, and then like the artist's, every artist has like a vibe that the record companies give that artist, essentially. Like they curate this vibe. And so the machine learning algorithm curates the whole vibe, writes the song, and produces it in one prompt.
Wow.
In one prompt. And it happened within a few seconds.
That's crazy.
And so they press play and they're listening to the song. Maybe we can pull it up. I don't know. And as far as digital pop music, it was already like, I want to say 80% there. In terms of the production quality, the vocals, and everything.
Yeah.
And with it sounded like a radio song, you know?
Yeah.
But it was so digital.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a younger listener and you haven't grown up listening to the Bee Gees, I wonder how much you're gonna care or notice.
Right, exactly. That's interesting because, you're talking about the pop music and the music that I write. So for me, I've always been into the more like just trying to be as creative as possible, but also wanting there to be a catch in it, like it to be somewhat catchy.
Yes.
Because you want, the more creative you get, the smaller of an audience you have. So there's got to be something in there that draws, like this is not going to completely lose people, right?
Like a chant.
Yeah. So, but with the pop music, it's interesting. I can see how that can be a challenge because there's so many pop songs out there that sound so much alike. But then every once in a while, you'll get a popular song that's catchy. I'm like, man, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, those changes have been done 1,000 times, but what they did with it is great. So it can be done, and I can see that could be a challenge. But for me personally, that's not where my head is right now.
No, I understand. I found that despite it being easier than ever per se to create a song, it'll sound good, but will it sound like a memorable song that people will be singing in 5, 10, 20, 30 years? Does it have what you're talking about? Something human, something catchy, something that feels uniquely real in the spirit of humanity. Not just like everything digital, everything perfect.
Yeah.
So Morgan Wallen comes to mind. He got big in recent years, a country pop star, country pop, I guess. More on the countryside. And y'all should check it out if you haven't already. The lyricism is very good.
Does he have like a mullet? Is he like in the woods, doing guitar videos sometimes for funny?
Not that guy. That's
okay.
That's some YouTube. He was just on Rogan, this viral YouTube guy.
Okay.
Also a great songwriter. But that's what I'm talking about. When you listen to that guy's songs, like when you listen to a really memorable song, it has this almost like folk, timeless feeling to it. Like every word is just logically there and you remember it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully AI doesn't get to that point, but I can imagine like it starts to understand human novelty and it gets really, really specific. That'd be creepy.
That would be very creepy. Like those songs you're talking about, there's a depth to it.
Exactly.
Which is what
like a human experience. You're not just saying metaphors that sound okay. You're talking about like something so unique that people can relate to. Like, yeah, that just happened to me last night.
And if you're talking about sex, it's not straight up in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, he has one song called I forgot the title of the song, but a major lyric at that point of the song is "Last night I let the liquor talk." Now, something as simple as "Last night I let the liquor talk," that is a good line. Yeah. That is a good line for pop music.
Sure, yeah.
But it has character in it. It's a little quirky. It's a little funny. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of human emotions.
Or somebody who does it really well is Prince, where it's like, it's very clear, but at the same time, for the longest time, I was listening to it, not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like
because music is so good.
Corvette, cool, yeah. Sweet. I like Corvettes too.
Yeah.
Right.
I really like Corvettes. But I was going to ask you, because we're probably going to come to a close here soon.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the jazz club?
On the jazz club. Well, I haven't heard, I was talking to them and doing some videos for them for a while.
And sorry, let me make that not so freaking ambiguous.
Is it that club that we're talking
about? For somebody
about?
that might be listening, Houston's getting a new jazz club opened by the people of Jazz Texas and San Antonio. Mm-hmm. So they're building out a club here, and David obviously has a awesome, do that. David is playing a role in the in the jazz club that's going to be opening here, which is awesome that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, thoughts on it, excitement, anything?
I think when they reached out to me, I think they're scoping out Houston talent to see who they want to put in there, and who can put a show together and draw people. So I'm excited about it. I'm also realistic in that, any jazz club in Houston is hard to keep it going and to make it successful. But I think they have the right ingredients here because it's going to be a fine dining place and quality music.
And it's not going to be strictly jazz.
Right. So they're bringing in, did you see who their opening act is going to be?
No, I didn't see that at all.
It's going to be Tony Danza. The actor Tony Danza. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't even know he was a singer, but I guess he's going to do. I mean, that's going to be a draw just because he's an actor, famous actor. He was from Taxi.
Right. I didn't actually see that, but I've heard of it so
he was
many
in
times.
Taxi. He was a young guy in Taxi, and then he was some other sitcom. Anyway, I hope it's successful, and I hope I get to play there. Like I said, I haven't talked to those guys in a while, but I'm excited for Houston and for us, and hopefully we all get a chance to play there. And
yeah, I mean, it's an exciting location, exciting building.
Yeah.
Like you said, all the ingredients are there. It's like a major theater that's been empty. It's probably in the best place it could be.
Yeah.
In some sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Since
That's an
Westheimer.
artsy neighborhood.
Yeah. I feel like Graham's gonna do a good job. It's like very clear and aware and
yeah. So I got to go inside there in the summertime. They were doing some promo photos from the outside, and so Matthew, their photographer, let me go inside to check it out, and because I had never gone to the original Tower Theater. I never saw any shows there. But this is going to be it's almost going to be like it's hard to describe, but I was thinking that there was going to be this, almost auditorium seating, like it was a theater, but it's actually going to be almost like a dinner theater with this wraparound balcony.
Oh, shoot.
And this stage right in the center against the wall, with tables all around it. I mean, it looks swank. It looks really cool.
Wow.
So, and I think they're aware that, not everyone wants to listen to music, but wants to go to a place that has great food. So I think there's going to be another area for people that don't want to just go to listen to the music.
Okay.
So, you remember the food we had at Jazz Texas? That was great food, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And so, you get the best of, the food side and the music side. So that's what they're doing. And I know at Jazz Texas, they pack that place all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and if it's run like that which seems pretty successful, very successful, it would be good.
Yeah.
Definitely need something like that because it's like we don't really have great stages.
No.
We got little spots here and there, but no real dedicated, unless it's a main stage, which is not open all the time. You can't just go to.
What is Tony Danza going to do there again? What did you...
I guess he's going to sing. I think he does the whole Frank Sinatra vibe.
Okay, Frank. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's cool.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I hope that doesn't change your perception.
No.
I think that's gonna, having a big name like that.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does make sense.
It's just gonna.
And then Harry Connick Jr.
Different vibe.
And then Jeff Goldblum.
And then Jeff
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, right?
Oh yeah.
Well.
And then the chick from Wicked. What's her name?
Oh my gosh. Although Greg did say that she was one of the greatest singers he's ever heard in his whole life.
Yeah, he did mention that.
So, because I was like, how was that pop thing?
Yeah.
He was like literally one of the best singers he's ever heard.
Well, you heard her sing "Fly Me to the Moon" on the Grammys?
No, I did
with
not.
Herbie?
I did not.
Oh, yeah,
shoot.
she sounded great, man. She can definitely sing.
She scares me a little bit
Yeah.
just from her costumes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be cool.
Hey, man. So I did want to mention that. So I've been associated, like I was talking about, Jazz Houston Orchestra, but it's a great organization that I've been a part of now for 5. This is the 5th year of me being a director of the youth orchestra, which is great, man. So now I was the associate director for 4 years, and now I'm the director, and now James Williams III is the associate director.
Nice.
And Benson is now just artistic director. He's the founder, him and his wife Belinda. But it's a great organization, and that's another passion of mine. You know, we were talking about how people survive in the whole music world, and a lot of people teach. You know, famous people are going to charge $200 to $500 just for a lesson. But and my kids are playing jazz now, so. And my kid, like you guys in social media, you're great at it. I suck at it. I need to do better. But now Jazz Houston is getting me involved. They're wanting me to do tips of the day and things like that and sending them videos. But now that my kids are involved in jazz, I mean, in a way that more so than I was. Like, I don't even have to tell them to play. So my son, David, who's 13, he'll be 14 this month, he's got his own YouTube channel and Instagram channel and is posting videos all the time. And he loves all the instruments. He plays drums, he plays piano, he plays saxophone, he plays guitar. But he just posted last month playing Coltrane solo along with Coltrane. David's on alto, and playing John Coltrane solo of Giant Steps. It's really cool, man. So
wow,
being a parent of someone that's learning jazz, it's a passion of mine, the whole education part of it. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was teaching at PVA as a consultant back in early 90s. So now I'm more involved in it now and more passionate about it now because of my own kids. And now that I'm the director of Jazz Houston Youth Orchestra, that's a pretty cool thing. So I just had to mention that.
Having kids changes everything, doesn't it?
It changes everything. Having kids and family, when you don't have that and you have all the time in the day, it's so easy to say, I'm just going to do it tomorrow, or I'll do it.
Right.
I'll do it the next day, or I'll do it later on in the day. But when you have a family, you have to make a schedule, and you're like, this is the only time I can do it, so I'm going to get it done. So I'm actually more productive now than I was when.
I hear that a lot.
When I didn't have.
I hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
All the time. I feel like I might need to have a child. Just
be careful with that.
Light a fire.
A sense of urgency. This is not even very important to say, but like, to have a sense of urgency is not so much because anything is like so urgent, but I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, it's that if you don't have any kind of sense of urgency, you don't really do things on a high level.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you need. You need a kid, or you just need to have a vision, or you just
what's
need
the
to
motivation?
You need to find your motivation. So to a lot of people, that seems like obsession, but it's like, I have not seen any other way of like, you can get in the right circles, you can get lucky, you can do this and that and the third, but you're going to have to put in some work somewhere. And the people that are doing it, they do have that tinge of obsession. Like even Kurt was telling, I don't know if he had mentioned it at our interview, but I know that he was in the tool shed, I'm pretty sure, obsessively. And people telling me stories about him like working patterns for like 8 hours a day, just like a freak. It's like, yeah, I know, that's what it takes.
Right. You gotta work on the craft.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing that we love this so much that we're willing to do that, That's more than a lot of people can say. So something to be very grateful for.
It's a very special thing, man, to be able to express yourself in this way, in music and in jazz, because it's just so, the rules are made to be broken, and, sky's the limit. You just explore, and it's a really cool thing. So, and now that now that everyone has one of these, back when I was a kid, when it came to learning jazz, I had either the one radio station or the records that my parents had as far as being exposed to jazz. So I came from a musical family, but I didn't live with my dad's, which is where the music came from mostly. But now everyone has access to everything as far as the music to listen to. Because being exposed to that is the inspiration. I'm like, man, what is that? I want to play like that. I want to do that. So there are no excuses now. So, but then I've also noticed how that can be, Instagram. It can be discouraging to some that don't know how to be inspired by it, thinking like, man, so many people can do this already. How I'm not gonna be able to do that. Look how good he is. Look how young he is. Blah blah blah. But there's only one you, and there's no one like you. So be the best that you can be. So.
And I had this conversation because some was I'm not gonna mention who, but a mutual friend of ours. They were like, I don't know, I'm kind of struggling with the imposter syndrome, and I don't know, like I feel awkward even doing stuff. And I'm like, well, the irony of imposter syndrome is like you think you're an imposter, but actually most people are absolutely inspired that you can even do that.
Yeah.
And they're sitting looking at you like, dang, like he just did that. And you're over there thinking like, I'm nobody.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
And it's like your courage is in and of itself, what's the word I'm looking for? Your courage is, yeah. Contagious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah. What do you think, David? Do you have some final messages to the children, the musicians?
Well, like I was just saying, that, there's only one you, man. So be the best version of yourself. It's easy to compare yourself to other people. Let other people be an inspiration, but just remember that there's only one you. Yeah. And me being a father, it's easy to say now because my kids can go through that too. But right now they're fearless.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see. So
that's a powerful thing to cultivate. I think in this world you gotta just be bold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely too gonna make sure that we post, like when we post this podcast, we'll post the Jazz Houston link, especially to the website, at least so people can go and see it. And we'll put in like your links to your music.
Okay. Great.
Highly recommend. While you're listening, highly recommend going to listen to that because your music is super inspirational and so cool and so fun to play.
Well, that was fun. I appreciate you posting that you were learning the melody to the blues that I wrote. Blues.
Yeah. That's so fun.
Put a video up, so I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, could not do that. not learn it. Yeah, it was a treat. So, David, thanks for being on today.
Thanks.
You're an inspiration to music.
You, Armin. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
It's been good. It's a good podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah.
Cool.